So the Giants stunned the football world tonight with a 34-17 win over the Philadelphia Eagles. Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. A quick react to the Giants' big win tonight. Not supposed to react to this game, by the way. Had no intentions of doing it. I had my cup of tea here, which I like to have at the end of the night. We react mostly to NFC North games with these late night reactions. But I'm sitting here watching the game with my good buddy, Matty A., big Cowboys fan. We're both rooting against the Eagles, having a great time. And all of a sudden, I'm like almost overwhelmed by the excitement of the moment. Like, I just got to record on this. I don't know if anyone's going to listen. I don't really care. It's just exciting seeing the New York scene this excited for the first time. And I actually can't remember. Even in the Brian Daboll, Daniel Jones run of 2022, whatever year that was, Daboll's first year, it didn't feel like this. This was the first time that I can recall in, I don't know, a decade where I could hear "Let's Go Giants" chants coming out of MetLife Stadium. We've joked around a few times on the show. The most excited we saw, here we got Ryan Fitzpatrick and Cam Skattebo taking off their shirts on Thursday Night Football. I mean, where are we? Like, this is not the New York Giants. I love these guys. I love calling Jaxson Dart and Cam Skattebo the frat bros. I mean, there's just a frat energy around the Giants right now that was completely unpredictable 3 weeks ago when Russell Wilson was running the show in New York for just a few games. And it makes sense why there was a big change. But yeah, I've joked around that the Taylor Swift concert was the most excited I've seen MetLife, and it actually still probably was since, like the Super Bowl teams. And even those teams, Eli was getting booed off the field half the games during the season. For anyone who doesn't know, we record this show from Northeast Jersey, so we're extremely close to MetLife Stadium. It's like a 30-minute drive away, which is in New Jersey, by the way, in case you don't know. It should be the Jersey Giants. But the excitement around here, I mean, our phones are just going off with Giants fans saying, like, all right, are we back? I'm getting pictures of people in Giants jerseys. They're all coming out of the woodworks after, like 5 years in hibernation. I'm pretty sure the Giants have the second worst record, they said, in the NFL over the past 5 years. Second only to the Jets, who are number one. And I think that is a record that's been, being tossed around this year because they were tied coming into the season. So with the Jets being winless, the Giants luckily avoid being the worst record over the past 5 years. But, you talk about Jaxson Dart and Skattebo, Abdul Carter, this draft class that the Giants had is just unbelievable. Obviously, we all had high expectations for Abdul Carter, but to have Jaxson Dart come in and see the instant turnaround, because everyone is watching in prime time when they're playing the Chiefs. Russell Wilson and that offense can't do anything. The Chiefs are trying to give them the game, and the Giants just can't get anything going. The crowd's booing. It's just an ugly scene in MetLife. And if you're a Giants fan, you're sitting back saying, here we go again. Same crap. In week one in Washington, you're on the goal line, it seems like 3 times, and you can't punch it in the end zone. Other than that Dallas game, just a lot of frustration around the very brief Russell Wilson era. And you got Daboll on the sideline, red face. Joe Shane's going to lose his job, which was warranted, right? They've made some horrible decisions in New York, extending Daniel Jones, which now, we'll see with him in Indianapolis. But at the time, was a bad decision for the team. Letting Saquon go, a bad decision for the team. The Giants have made countless poor decisions. They've been really poorly run. And they finally seem to have got it right in this draft. The last chance for Shane, the last chance for Daboll, with Jaxson Dart coming in. And you got to think for teams like, Pittsburgh, who a lot of people, I know they're 3-1 right now. A lot of people said, are they going to go for a quarterback? I think they were at 21. Those guys let these Jaxson Dart pass by them. And we're seeing right now, it looks like he could be one of those dudes. He finishes the night 17 for 25, almost 200 yards, a touchdown. And you got to give him credit. He's an absolute threat on the ground. Once again, 13 carries, 58 yards, and a touchdown. The energy that the Giants have when he's in the game is palpable. And you saw the moment that he went down and went into the blue medical tent, Brian Daboll is like Brian Daboll. I've never seen a coach opening the medical tent like that, trying to get the player out. Cam Skattebo, it feels like a frat house. Cam Skattebo is just walking into the medical tent, and you have the training staff being like, dude, you can't be in here. We're making sure this guy's healthy. And you have coaches waving Skattebo away. But the moment Russ came in, and I actually feel bad for Russell Wilson a little bit, because he enters the game and his eyes kind of go down. He just looks like sad. throws an incomplete pass, crowd boos him off the field, Dable screaming at everyone to get Dart back in the game. And then Jaxson comes back in and, all is well. But you can feel that energy. And the stadium, MetLife, people really hate it around here. But when that stadium's going, when Jets and Giants fans are into it, it can be an electric atmosphere. I mean, I think back to when Rodgers ran out onto the field a couple of years ago in that Monday night game against the Bills when he got hurt. You can feel the energy in this area. I mean, New York, when it gets going, New York, New Jersey, it's fun. And now I don't root for the Giants and Jets, but I mean, I pull for them to a certain degree because when it's December football and they're competitive, it's fun in this area. And that's been absent for a really long time. And Jaxson Dart, I'm not saying he's brought all the way back. This is one game, but this is a game the Giants haven't won in a long time. They've lost 9 straight division games. And I'm checking right here the history with the Eagles right now, other than a January game in 2024 when the Eagles weren't playing anybody, the Giants had lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games to Philadelphia. I mean, they've just been getting blasted by these guys. Like they have like 4 wins in the last 15 games. The Eagles have owned them. And you can tell that in this area. There are a lot of Eagles fans, and they let the Giants fans know that. So this game, to have this performance against a team this good, against that team too, being Philly, it means a lot to people. People are very excited, and I would be too, because Jaxson Dart is doing it right now with guys like Wan'Dale Robinson and Lil Jordan Humphrey and Theo Johnson and Jalen Hyatt. I get that those guys, they're all in the NFL for a reason. But Malik Neighbors, the top dog, the star, is out. And, you throw those 4 receivers over to anybody. I can only imagine what it would look like in Minnesota if we were rolling out those 4 guys. Jaxson Dart was making them look great tonight. He was putting the ball exactly where it needed to go. He had the one route to the corner of the end zone with the pass interference that kind of put the game away. I mean, that was a dime. It was a pass interference call. That's the only reason it wasn't a catch. But I thought the whole night, Dart's mobility was great, throwing on the run, finding open people, running tough. It was just awesome. It was just really fun to watch. Thankfully, he's not injured, because when he went down, it's like, are you kidding me? Finally, we get some excitement. And the moment it happens, I actually just fired off a text to a handful of Giants fans. It was like, Dart looks unreal tonight. And the next play, he got hurt, of course. So I think you got to be really pumped. This is what I'm hoping for with JJ McCarthy. If JJ McCarthy looked anything like this, what Dart looked like tonight, I'd be jacked up, man. I mean, that's what he looked like in the fourth quarter against Chicago. That's why everyone left that game saying the Vikings found their quarterback. And for any Vikings fan, if you watched that full game and didn't get swept away in the moment, you're saying, all right, well, there were 3 really bad quarters before that fourth. You watch the Atlanta game and you go, all right, that's another 4 really bad quarters. This was 4 really good quarters from Jaxson Dart. And they moved the ball well against the Saints. They just had 5 turnovers, which you have 5 turnovers, you're going to lose the football game. It's actually a shame that they lost that game, because there's 3-3 right now. There's a different conversation about these Giants. And Jack, I don't know how he does it, guys, when Jack makes these predictions about, Jaxson Dart will come in and the Giants are going to win 11 games in a row. And we're all sitting here saying, like, shut up, Jack. And next thing you know, they're beating the Eagles on Thursday Night Football, like kicking the Eagles' ass on Thursday Night Football. I don't know how he does it, but there's some excitement now around this Giants team, which is 2-1 under Jaxson Dart with wins over the Chargers and the Eagles, and he looks better each week. Well, maybe, the turnovers were bad in New Orleans, but this was by far his best game, and that's something you want to see, right? Week by week improvement, play by play improvement. I mean, they were marching up and down the field tonight. One of the big dudes for that reason was Cam Skattebo. 19 carries, 98 yards, 3 touchdowns. I didn't understand it the entire time in this draft process. We're talking about all the running backs. Quinshon Judkins is coming out. Obviously, a lot of hype around Ashton Genty, Omarion Hampton. Everyone's pumped up for these guys. Skattebo was a Heisman finalist. And I remember talking to different people about the draft, saying, like, well, could he go in the second round maybe? People are going like, no, it's crazy. Like, well, it's too small, not fast enough. Why would you want him? And maybe it's just me, but a lot of times when I'm watching college football, when I see a guy doing what Cam Skattebo is doing, someone who's just good at football, I want them on my team. I remember watching. Tyrann Mathieu. Obviously, everyone knew he was good, but he fell to the third round. And I know that he had some off-field problems, but it shouldn't be shocking how good he was. Good at football. Will Johnson's off to an excellent start. I know there are concerns about his injury and how that'll progress over time. Dude is good at football. He could even be a first rounder. When we talked about Kyle Hamilton, he was a top 5 talent in that draft. He fell because he ran a slow 40 time. Dude's good at football. Watch the games. Watch what these guys do. Cam Skattebo runs around like a lunatic. I mean, you see him on the sideline. He's just screaming for no reason. Like, that's what you want in a running back, right? You want a running back ripping his shirt off with Ryan Fitzpatrick after the game, screaming at a bunch of New Yorkers. Like, that's what it's all about. And I think that they just hit an absolute home run, hit the jackpot, was what I was trying to say. With Jaxson Dart, Skattebo, Abdul Carter, who had a quiet night tonight. It's amazing how quickly things can change in football, right? We say it's a week-to-week sport. It truly is. Last week, you're losing in New Orleans. This week, Daboll's practically being carried off the field. I can't remember the last time I've seen Brian Daboll this happy. And it's happened so fast, right? Just 3 guys come in, and you hear Brian Burns saying, they just bring energy, man. Feels like we just got it so much younger. We have so much energy coming in here. Again, kind of feel bad for Russell Wilson. Like, it almost feels like Brian Daboll's looking at Jaxson Dart. Like, you ever see those like movies when you have the father just loves one son and completely disregards another? He's like literally like almost like hugging, and he's like almost like kissing the helmet of Jaxson Dart after these plays. But he's saving his job right now, and he's saving Joe Shane's job. And we'll see. Let's see who the Giants have coming up here. I haven't checked. Giants schedule at Denver. So next week is at Denver. Then they go to Philly. Oh, geez. All right. Back in Philly. It might be a difference. You don't want Philly again that quickly. But look, it's a tall task going to Denver, going back to Philadelphia. But, I mean, these guys were playing their asses off tonight. And you got to give them credit. If they keep this up, the future is very bright in New York. I'm not thinking playoffs or anything. That schedule really is pretty brutal. San Fran, at Chicago, Green Bay, at Detroit, at New England, Commanders. It would take, if the Giants are threatening a playoff spot, we're talking about another one of those Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud seasons, which just would be hard to fathom. Tonight looked like it was possible. On the Philly side of things, just a horrendous sports night in Philadelphia. For any Eagles fans who are also watching the Phillies game, losing in the 11th inning on a ball hit back to your pitcher and throws it over the catcher's helmet or over the catcher's glove, over the catcher's everything to lose the NLDS. Brutal night. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's one of those plays that will live in infamy for Philadelphia sports fans. It was that bad. I felt horrible. I can't remember the pitcher's name, but just felt horrible seeing those kind of games end like that, where you just got to give the guy a hug and say like it happens. But man, I do love Philadelphia sports misery. It's going to sound horrible, but it is awesome to see it because those fans can get so annoying around here. And tonight, they were expecting, we all were expecting the Eagles to waltz in and just beat the crap out of the Giants. Every single person on every single show, except Jack, picked the Eagles to win this game. And it got off to an electrifying start. Right? It's 2017 at halftime. You're thinking this is going to be an absolute barn burner. And then the Philadelphia offense just completely dies. These are their second half drives. 3 plays, 4 yards, punt. 4 plays, 8 yards, punt. 3 plays, 8 yards, punt. 4 plays, 51 yards. Then you have the huge interception that basically ends the game. And then that meaningless last drive that ended with the fumble. I mean, they were non-existent in the second half. And you got to give the Giants some credit, right? Brian Burns had a big night tonight. They got after Jalen Hurts. But this Philadelphia team clearly has some problems, and it's clearly problems on and off the field. Reminds you a bit of the 2023 season, right? They get by early, winning these games that, maybe they won, but maybe they shouldn't have. And against Kansas City, if Travis Kelce catches that ball and it's not picked off, maybe you lose that one. Dallas was a close game early in the year in the opener, but the Eagles are finding ways to win. Well, now they're losing. And how are they going to respond to that? Because a couple of years ago, they completely fell apart and the season ended as a wild card team after you were 9 or 10-1, and you end as a wild card team just getting blown out in Tampa where it looks like no one even wants to be there. I'm not saying that's going to happen this year, but I mean, you collapse the way you did against Denver in the fourth. You don't show up in the second half against the Giants. You're having multiple hour meetings. Saquon has 58 yards tonight. He hasn't gone over 60 more than one time this year after running for, the record amount of rushing yards in a season last year. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. And Jalen Hurts, we know that some people in Philadelphia debate how good he really is. That interception tonight ended the game. And the more noise you hear, Kirk Herbstreit was talking about it. The more noise you hear, the tougher it gets. And I still think there's so much talent on this team that they're going to figure it out. But the writing is on the wall that it could be a similar year to 2023 where they're a really talented team and just they can't get it together. Look, Nick Sirianni's a Super Bowl winning coach. You have to respect the Super Bowl. I don't know how good of a leader he is. He's childish at times. He's screaming on the sidelines. I love Kevin O'Connell. I know he's lost a couple really big games. He hasn't achieved the highs that Nick Sirianni has in Philly. But when shit hits the fan, I trust Kevin O'Connell to have things under control, to say the right thing. The players will have his back. I don't know if that's the case in Philadelphia. I think they like Sirianni, but I don't know how much they really like him. It's a really weird locker room. It's a strange one, isn't it? You Super Bowl winning team, that good of players, and just it always feels like you're one game away from everything falling apart. And thank God Saquon's there for them. They should be thanking the Giants every single day because he's the best leader on that. Him and Hurts, great leaders. Without Saquon there, I can see A.J. Brown flipping out on someone. It's scary times as an Eagle fan. Now, look, you won the Super Bowl side. I don't have any sympathy for you. All I want is one. But if you were to forget last year, I don't know. Detroit seems to be the clear class of the NFC right now. If you're a Lions fan, huge win tonight. Like, massive win. You got the best culture. You got the best roster. You got the best coaches. It's everything. Like, Detroit, once again, if Detroit goes into Kansas City and wins, like, it's completely on. It already is, but you're like, all right, this is it. Now let's do this. If we can stay healthy, we got to get there this year because you're seeing some vulnerabilities. Tampa's had a good start, little fluky. You feel confident you could beat them. The Packers, you're waiting for revenge on Thanksgiving. How much do you buy into the Rams? I don't buy into the 49ers. Detroit's in good shape here. All right, we'll wrap it up there. 17-34 Giants with just an unbelievable win tonight. Biggest win they've had there. I know they were saying since the Daniel Jones-Dable era, but I was never a big Daniel Jones believer personally. Regretting that a bit now as a Viking fan. But yeah, it's been a long time since you've seen the crowd that excited. And something about thinking you found your guy. That's a different feeling. So congrats to the Giants. Awesome. Love seeing Philly lose. I'm sure the Eagles will be back at some point this year. But joint power ranking should be interesting next week. We'll see you Sunday with more reactions.